Wow.
So they gonna hear the music too playing in the background? Or it's just a music?
You got it live? Oh, it is live. Welcome, welcome, Facebook family, for another week. I do have my co-host, my special guest today, who's my little brother. We're going to be talking and discussing about some uncomfortable stuff with growing up in it all. So we just gonna go ahead and give some time for some people to go ahead and tune in. You want to say anything to Facebook Live?
No, I can see myself.
Say anything to them? And two, let me go ahead and put my little disclaimer. If you do hear my music, no Facebook. I do not own the rights to this, so that we're not trying to edit my stuff out, okay? So we gonna go ahead and give it a few more minutes, and then we gonna go ahead and dive in. Hi, Mama. My mama saying hey.
Oh, here was definitely.
Two Hershey Kisses. Where is she going with two Hershey Kisses? Okay, Mama. Okay, Mama. With her Hershey Kisses. Oh, and two, let me go ahead and give a cute shout out. Y'all see the shirt? Yay. To Alonzo and to Claire. I really appreciate it. I love it. Again, if you can't make it out, it does say uncomfortable because I love it so much. I'm going to have some in the future that's going to be on sale for anyone it is who would like a shirt. Not really sure of all the colors yet or what we're going to do, but I'll go ahead and start taking orders like ASAP. But yeah, for anyone it is who's interested in a shirt, just let me know. So again, for anyone who's tuning in for the first time, anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Johanna Zeno, and I have my brother here with me, Coltlain Celestine, who we will be talking about some uncomfortable stuff growing up in it all. It's going to be good because it's going to be God all up in this thing. You sure you want to say nothing to Facebook or to the listeners?
I'm ready.
You ready? We're about to talk about some stuff. So we just gonna give it a few more seconds and then we gonna go ahead and dive on in. Again, Facebook, no, I do not have the rights to this music. Okay? Go ahead and put this disclaimer on there real quick. I'm excited about tonight though. You excited?
Yeah, me too.
We get to talk about some little nitty gritty stuff. Some good old stuff, good old stuff. Well, let's go ahead and just jump in. I'm excited about tonight. Again, anyone who's tuning in for the first time, I am Johanna Zeno. This is Uncomfortable, the podcast for any of the listeners or even for Facebook Live. Just a little bit again about why I even wanted to start this. It is something that I've always had a desire to do. Why is because we have so many people who just don't want to talk about no stuff. If you go back to my very first video, you would hear how I gave the example of my grandmother when I was younger. Whenever she used to ask me to go and sweep up the floor, and you knew back in the day we didn't have a dustpan, we had like a book, but we didn't get it all out. So what we did, we pick up the rug and we swept it underneath that, or not. We swept it underneath the table thinking that, well, it's just a little bit debris. But that's really how we face a lot of things in our life that I had to come to a conclusion with, is that I don't want to face it. So what I'll do, I'll just go ahead and sweep it underneath some stuff. And I always say I'm going to come back and face it, but in all actuality, I really don't. Why? Because it doesn't really seem like it's that much of a big deal. So that is what uncomfortable is all about. Like I said, again, I am Johanna Zeno for anyone it is who's tuning in for the first time. And I do have my brother joining me here on tonight. His name is Coltlain. I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself. Say a little bit about you.
My name is Coltlain Celestine, and I'm happy to be here. Like she said, she's my big sister. But anyway.
I can can be the little sister sometimes. But
yeah. So we'll be addressing a bunch of issues that, you know, most people don't like to talk about, and I'm just happy and blessed to be here.
yay! It's gonna be so good. I see Alonzo and Claire is joined in. That's my two we have to thank for this amazing shirt. Y'all, thank y'all so much. I really do appreciate it. Like I said, y'all gave me an idea now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get some shirts made for anyone it is who would like to purchase them. Go ahead and just send me your information. I don't really know the price yet, but you know, go ahead and support a sister here. But like we say, we are brother and sister. But what many people may not know is that me and Coltlain, we do have the same dad, but we have separate moms. We have separate mamas, and unlike most siblings, like we did not grow up together. Like I've always knew of my little brother, but I didn't know you.
Didn't know me until high school.
Well,
we got older.
When we got older, like you said, we were talking earlier that we met in Brown Park.
Brown Park, yeah.
Because I used to play softball.
Yeah.
Back in the yay, hit all them home runs. I used to be cold in softball too. But but we met then, and then we started going to high school together at Northside, that was still kind of awkward even within itself. But my mom used to always, my mom had pictures. So I don't know if my mom and your mom used to, you know, whatever. But I remember having a picture of you. You was like in a little white, in a little suit with your little things on and whatever. Yeah. And I remember in the back of it, if I'm not mistaken, I have it in my senior book. If I'm not mistaken, it's in there, or if not, it's to my mom in this big old box of pictures. Yeah, I still got. I keep stuff. I don't just throw stuff away. I do, but I remember that having that picture. And like too, if anyone doesn't know, is we both graduated from Northside 05.
Northside.
Ain't nobody graduated late, nor did we graduate early. No. We the same age.
That's crazy.
So how did that happen?
Well, we got to bring another guest on the show for that.
Like, how did that happen? So we part of that, our daddy.
Rolling Stone curse.
Yeah, all that good stuff. Like, Carl, what was you doing?
Too
much. Too much. But I'm June 18th and you're July 31st. 30th. I'm sorry, 30th. So that means that.
But I was also born early.
It don't matter though.
Same year.
It would have been the same year though.
Yes.
So Carl has some stuff, which Carl is our dad who I've talked about and said some things about in previous.
Yeah, we're gonna get him to come join one day.
Oh Lord Jesus. I wonder how that's gonna be. But he is one to where he gives a lot of wisdom, y'all. He kind of, you know, me and Coltlain, what I believe we both get from him is some of our crazy ways in some essence. But he also granted us and has given us like so much wisdom, you know, it is that we could apply. So no, we did not grow up like together, and it was just weird to know like you have a sibling
that you don't know nothing about.
But you don't even really know nothing about. And I believe that's what many of us deal with, is like we have siblings on the outside and the ones we know, but we have no relationship with them, like, at all.
And trying to build a relationship is like, okay.
I know of you, but I don't really know you. It's like how your mama probably, when she was older or something, younger, and she had a kid, and then, you know, she couldn't raise a kid or whatever, so they had the grandparents, and then when she get older, and then she have another kid, it's like, oh, where you come from? Like, how are we supposed to bond? But I believe that our relationship, like, it really excelled from there, because ever since high school.
Yeah, we kept in touch, stayed in touch, and, you know, in each other's life.
Yeah.
Just seen everything.
We showed it. And two, the thing it is now that we also have in common besides our dad is that both of our moms were single parents for so long. So how you think that was for you?
I mean, it was growing up. I mean, it was good. I mean, like most parents, your mom could do the most she can with what she had. I mean, especially in the black community. I mean, she can do as much as she want. And I mean, without your dad is certain things you know, certain things you don't know. But you can only go from your mom's point of view until you become of age and figure out what's the other side. And that side is you may be ready for it, you may not. It's just up to you. And when you decide I'm going.
Right.
And search for answers.
So you used to ask questions when you was younger?
Yeah, I mean, everybody asks questions about, hey, like, where's your dad? Or, you know, I mean, sometimes you get those that might say something bad about your dad or this and this in front of the kid. I mean, if people are out there doing it, I mean, don't do it, because at the end, I mean, I got kids, and I wouldn't say nothing bad about their mom or dad. I mean, the child is not looking for that, just looking for answers. And I mean, when he's ready for the answers, they'll go out there and find it.
Right. And I know, like, when we were younger, one of the things that I dealt with the most is children can be so mean. Like, oh my God, like, even though I had my mom, which we were both raised by single mothers, and my mom already know I love her dearly. My mama, she did what she could beyond, you know, what the expectations of a woman in her position was like. Just to kind of touch bases again, our dad was strung out on drugs when we were younger. He was in and out of jail, so we really grew up with an absent father. Like, we knew of him, and sometimes he would come around, but for the most part, we would say at least 75% of our childhood, he was nowhere to be found. So at the times it is that he would come, it still would be like weird. It still would be awkward because he was on.
You're trying to build a relationship.
Right.
I mean, there's nothing taken from him. I mean,
exactly.
Nothing against him. I mean, the relationship we have now is we're good. So I mean, I don't regret. I don't regret nothing. I mean, I don't hold no grudges against him.
Right.
Most people grow up with their dads like this, and nobody wants to talk about it. I mean, you're that child where you like, where's your dad? And you looking for everybody else like, okay.
Yeah.
You know, they got those that step up and play the father roles, uncles. You know, sometimes even the mom change. I mean, as a family. You know, so I mean,
But we turned out. I believe we turned out just fine.
Yeah.
I talked to, Dad, he came out of house the other day, and he was like, you know, Mom, because I don't know why he called me Mom. He still call me Mom still to this day. I'm like, I'm a grown woman now. I'm like, what you calling me Mom for? But he was like, even though Daddy wasn't there, you know, and give his story or whatever. He said, one thing it is I can honestly say about you and your brother is that y'all don't call me for nothing. Y'all doing good for y'allself. Like, y'all really doing good. Be very independent. And I know, like, with being younger, what I have witnessed a lot as well, and I'm pretty sure you can probably attest to it, is that because of statistics and where we come from, it was pretty much said that we would walk in the same shoes. Me as the same shoes as my mother, you as the same shoes, of that. And to know that, no, we were able to rise above that. And like, no, we not go, and for some who do, I don't think it's just like something by choice, but one thing it is that I do believe is that you become accustomed to what you're surrounded by. You know what I mean? And our moms really kept us from that walk of life. You know what I mean? So that's one thing I can honestly attest to with our moms. Like, no, it wasn't always good. It wasn't always peachy and creamy, but y'all really did protect and shield us from what y'all knew we was already fighting with. Needless to say, you a black man. We already know what the statistics is with our black men in today's society. So even with you just being who you are, you already have many strikes against you. Then to say where you come from, another strike against you. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so much stuff that we could have geared into, but we really haven't. So yeah, we should be proud of ourselves.
We should thank y'all moms for this.
Yes. So, and then one thing what it is too is just knowing that our parents do the best it is that they can. You know what I mean? Some parents, I know, with poverty and, sickness and all this other stuff. Some things you just don't have no control of. You know what I mean? You just in the statistics of things. But there's other things it is that you can just really push and go against the grain, as in, nah, I am gonna rise above this thing. And some people have the willpower to do it, and some of them are just content. Not saying that all people are, you know what I mean? But just knowing that it has to be something better out there. It has to be something more than what we're currently in or what we're currently doing, you know, like right now.
Yeah, whoever would have thought? Because I was the first grandson to graduate out of high school. Out of a bunch of studies things. No disrespect.
No disrespect, y'all. Hear that? None taken.
You know, but on our side.
Right. Well, it's the same thing on this side.
Really?
Is I'm the first one to graduate high school.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, wow.
The first one to graduate high school, the first one to go to college.
The first, let me correct this. The first boy, not
Girl.
Not grandchild, first boy.
Okay, well, I'm first grandchild.
Yeah. First
And then too, when you think about it, we both the oldest with our parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that means we were their practice.
Oh,
We were their practice. We were the ones to where they ain't did that before.
yeah.
At least with the siblings after us.
I call myself the example.
The example.
If it worked on them, cool. If it didn't work, I'm gonna try a different way. That's what I, you know.
We were the examples of it. But just to because we got way off track. Is like I know we can just keep talking and keep going and going and going. But even to whenever it came to like whenever we did meet in high school, like how did you feel? Like was it like
It's like, oh look, that's my sister.
we
better start talking.
Yeah, like we finally underneath
Yeah.
are in like the same location, so where we don't have to depend on our parents to make it happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Changing up here, call me.
Yeah, and I believe that's exactly what it is. But at the same time, it makes me think like, wow, mamas couldn't do that though. You never thought about it in that sense?
No, I know Uncle Marcus did. He tried. He would come get me like on some weekends whenever he had time, and we'd talk. And we'd pass by your grandma. But the funny thing is, y'all know y'all just stayed on the other side of the track, and like we stayed on the other side.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like the funny thing. It's like, okay, you
I
stayed
think right there.
Yeah.
Look, Stephanie and Lisa, lean down, y'all, okay? But just to like get some type of understanding or clarity to like why not? Because you know, like even in the sense of keeping in mind I have 2 kids from 2 different from previous relationships. You have 3 kids from a previous relationship. But at the same token, what it is that even with my girls and their outside siblings, like they still have a relationship with them. You don't have.
They're outside.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I do.
And I do have my stepdaughter.
And you do have your bonus daughter. Yeah, you do have her as well. But in the sense of when they're together, it's a relationship and it's a bond. You see what I'm saying? That's me. So it's not to where we have to. Well, for me, I think I do have to do a little bit more in the sense of when Shania, she leaves and she goes to her dad to making sure, hey, you have siblings over there too, so make sure you establish and get that relationship with them, which I believe she does really good. But to say with our mom is, you right there, I'm right there, like, why y'all didn't try? Did our daddy was that messed up?
I don't
so
know.
where y'all wouldn't, nah.
Y'all could have met in St. Anthony Park.
Like-
or even from around. You know, I mean.
On the block.
But we did meet in, like I said, in the park, because you would play baseball with Q.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was in the park though, but in the sense of we living like right there.
Go walk and meet your sister. Go walk.
Yeah, like force us to go. But at the same token, what it is everything is done for a reason. We don't know, you know, we don't know what the conversations was like. We don't know what was happening behind the scenes because we're only kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then too, I remember we do have a cousin, which y'all already know, so let me go ahead and put it out there anyways. But you remember Chastity Guy? Chastity, you out there? Yes, I just said your name. But she's Uncle Boo Boo.
Daughter, yeah.
Oldest daughter. And she actually reached out to me we were going to high school together as well at Northside. You took a class with your own cousin and you didn't even really know. Because I didn't know until, she told me and then we started talking and, kind of digging in it from there.
Yeah, that's my parent.
And that's your parent. That is your parent. But it just goes to show as well, too, is that we have so many things in the family that we have,
We got you.
What'd you say?
We were
They were young. Okay, yes. And it just goes to show that it's so much stuff that happens in the family. You know what I mean? Like whenever you're younger or whatever, and then when you get older and you start getting information about that stuff, it takes you. For me, it knocks the wind out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and how all that stuff was underneath our nose and we didn't even know. Like how you my brother across the track and I don't even know. You see what I'm saying? Like how you my cousin. Me and you taking classes together. We in band and I didn't even know.
I don't know, man. That's something we got to talk to on the Onazine side.
The Onazine side, we need all the different sides.
You can't fault them. I mean, they was young too with a lot of stuff they was facing and growing up with having kids young and not really having their father and mother figure to look up to. And so it's like, how do I branch out and try to raise kids this way when I don't know how I wouldn't raise that way.
That was your mama's. That was the situation with your mom, Mom Lisa.
Situation with your dad.
Oh, with dad, yeah.
Yeah, my mom had both our parents.
My mama too.
In the same house, but I mean, as for your dad, it's like, it's a different thing. Yeah.
But our mamas knew better. Look, I'm jumping on the mamas. I am jumping on the mamas.
I mean, it's a lot you could take from that.
Yes, I am jumping on the mamas.
It's a lot you could hold them to, but I mean, also you gotta go.
And then too, it is crazy how, okay, my mom, she comes from a stable household where she had her mom and her dad. And I'm saying all this to talk about how generational curses can even start. How it can be rooted in the sense of even from like our ancestors and people like before us, because somewhere up the line it didn't happen, whatever. But my mama had both her parents in her life. Your mom had both her parents in our life. Our dad never had both his parents in his life up to a certain point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it just goes to say that how most people be like, well, no, you're going to be this and you're going to be that because you will be raised, a certain way with both your mama, with both your daddy. Like, it's just based on statistics how they say you're supposed to be a certain way. And if that is the case, then no, somebody went whatever because your mama had both her parents, my mama had both their parents. But then y'all both got involved with this knucklehead off the street. You see? This knucklehead here off the street. You see what I'm saying? So when I say that, it's in the sense of like our moms started off as single parents. We started off, because guess what? We wasn't married or anything like that, but we started off as single parents. We're still single parents now. Well, I'm not a single parent anymore because I'm married now, but we started off as single parents. So we have to make sure that we even go against the grain even harder to make sure that our kids don't go through that same thing, and we can cut that generational curse right there. You see what I'm saying? And at the same time being in an example role to even give them. So yeah, I am married. You're dating at this time, but you have a beautiful girlfriend, Victoria. Go ahead, Vicky. You know what I mean? But we have to be that example.
Yeah.
And not just saying, oh, well, mama wants you to get married or daddy wants you to get married, and we ain't even doing it.
Right. And it's not just us saying it, but I mean, it's us as black folk, the black community. I mean, that's a lot of things that we need to be better example for to our kids.
Right.
I mean, just to say if our parents had to leave us something for a better start off, who's to know what we have accomplished? Not saying we ain't accomplished much, but what we'd have got out there with a better start.
Right.
You know, I mean, credit people. Credit.
Be like, look here. Let me slide in my chair a little bit.
Yeah, you know.
We was not taught no credit.
No, they ain't want.
We was not told go get you a loan to start building this credit. We was not taught look, stop trying to, which part of the cash call is good yet.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to you really establishing ownership of some stuff, go get you a nice little car. You can go to Sterling. Remember Sterling? Anybody could get a call from Sterling, but it was going to help with your credit. I remember my grandfather, whenever I started out, when I purchased my first home, he told me, he said, go to Conn's. He said, go to Conn's and buy you a microwave or get you a little toaster. I said, okay. I did that, but I never went back. I never took heed to what he was really trying to do until I got older, and it's like, oh, what's credit?
That's what it was.
I don't even know what that means. Like, I don't know. And at the same time, well, your mom recently got married not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
My mom been married, her first marriage was in 97, and then she got married, her late husband, and then she got married 5 years ago. So even with growing up, we never had that marriage, idea of what it looked like in-house. We had it with the grandparents, but not in-house.
Yeah, you're right about that. And then with grandparents, they are married,
Mm-hmm.
but then they separate. It's not a divorce. It's just separate.
They start living separate.
Not a divorce. It's a separate.
Not Neon and JoJo. Let me just say that, okay? They are still married to this day, even though he is in heaven. Hufflepuff JoJo. Yes.
They are married.
Yeah.
It's just a black community.
Yeah. I just think and feel as if we just stop being so much, because believe it or not, us black folks be so much against each other instead of actually wanting to help and support one another. Like, don't worry about like what I got going on here if it's something it is that I work for. That gets me. Like, why can't we celebrate people more when they get their rewards or they get their blessings or they get things it is that they actually work for? Not just so much giving to them, but they actually poured their heart out. And at the same time, too, whenever you have one and you starting up a business, like, why not help and support one another to the business aspect? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, alright, just to say he gets something new, why he got it? Why I couldn't get it? But you don't know what that man sacrificed to get what he got.
Exactly.
And as for black-owned business, I'm all with it. But that's one other thing, the cost. If black people get together and stick together and buy bulk, they could cut the cost down on a lot of things. Like right now, when I was growing up, all the corner stores was black-owned business. I ain't seen no foreigners in the neighborhood like talking about it. That's my thing about it. If we could get back our community, we could help a whole lot of other kids, not just ours, but everybody else. That's my thing about it, because you walk in the store, if you sharp 5 cents, you sharp 5 cents. They're not letting you go with that.
Back in the day at Bruce's Boo Boo, all you need is a quarter to get you a bag of chip. And don't worry about them 2 pennies, Boo Boo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but back in the day, everybody knew what Bruce's was, right?
Oh, man. I was saying the other day, I miss Bruce's, man. You used to walk over there, get your little boudin with your little bag of chip and your big shot blue drink because you wanted your mouth to be blue, and it was walking distance. And then you could have walked there and not have to worry about nobody messing with you. People actually looking out for you. Like, man, what you doing? Oh, I'm going to the store. All right, go straight home when you're done there. You know what I mean? Or if not, hey, while you there, go ahead and grab me such and such and such. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that was when you was growing up. Now, I don't know what's going on with just the neighborhoods. And then you also don't have those people that grew up in that neighborhood, staying in the neighborhood.
Everybody moving out.
Everybody moving out. Ain't nobody want to say, oh man, I don't want to stay there.
Yeah, and it's like, why? Like, it makes you want to understand, like, why? Is it because of, like, the culture of things? Is it because, like, it's just not the same no more? Or is it just, like, I don't want to be here no more?
When you grew up, I mean, yeah, you like to go back to the neighborhood where you grew from and say, man, I come from here.
Right.
But you also want better for you and your kids. So it's like, okay, well, let me go get this nicer house. Let me go buy this little piece of land. That way, okay, look, yeah, I made it out the hood.
Right.
You know, it is better than growing up in the hood. I mean, my mom kept me away from a bunch of stuff.
I don't feel bad.
You know, but
did too.
there's a bunch of stuff, you know, that we got into, we saw, we was exposed to it. You know, it wouldn't, you go around the corner. Y'all know if y'all go around the corner, what's around there. So it's like, you gotta venture out into doing other things and just don't want your kids to grow up around it.
Right. And not saying that it is like you want to make your kids sedity or anything. No. That is not the case. It is clearly more so too. I remember like in school that somebody called me out on it whenever they asked me like what the projects were. I was like, I'm green on that. Why? Because my mama kept me from that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's not that I looked down on it. I didn't even know what it was to even judge it. And then two, to really be honest, some of my really good friends that I had came from the projects. I'm like, no, let me come to your house, man, because my mom is working my nerves. My daddy working my nerves. I don't want to be, like, let me come see, like, where you come from. Like, let me, even though I'm green, like, I don't really know what was going on. You know what I mean? Like, until I got older, high school, but middle school, I didn't know. So it wasn't me for anyone who I may have offended. You know, it wasn't. I just didn't know. Yeah. I didn't know, and why? Because my mom shielded me from so much stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, I know the project was.
You knew, you across the track, but you knew, but I didn't know. Okay, Stephanie.
Yeah, we ain't grew up in it.
No.
I mean, we wouldn't. I'm not saying I'm above it.
Right.
But I don't look down on those that are. But you use that as a stepping stone. Don't use that as, okay, this is what I'm gonna be.
This is what it is. This is what it's gonna be. Right. I don't have nothing else to look forward to. You know. And then two is, how can I say it? As in, with us being parents and knowing all the stuff it is that's going on, is one thing that I tell my kids all the time is like, you have to make something out of yourself. Like, you have to be something. Be who, of course, you are, and pursue what it is that God has, you know, given you purpose for you to fulfill. But you have to be able to leave something behind. Because if you know, get older and you just living life day by day by day, depending on this and depending on that, like, you have, like, absolutely no legacy.
No.
Or whatever it is. So for me, my household, my marriage, my kids, it's more so of a legacy.
Yeah.
Of what we want to leave behind. Like, we want to be able to, even if it's not anything big and grand, to us it may be, but to the world, it may not, to where, no, they actually did something. They contributed something to, you know, to this world, to this society, and they actually die whenever that time comes, with leaving it here and not really taking anything, you know, to the grave with us. So that's why I tell them, like, exalt everything it is that you can while you here, and giving them something, some type of hope of something to look forward to. You know?
Yeah, I got you on that. But you know, growing up in our community was one thing everybody looked forward to: sports. To make it out. Now, that's all cool, fine, and dandy. But you know, you can raise somebody that could be loyal to that sports agency, sport. I mean, that's other things around sports that, not even just sports, just around that you can really make it out. Both my kids, they're not into sports. I mean, I played sports my whole life. I mean, but I don't knock them. I try them and whatever else they want to do. But I see that's not what their heart. That's not their passion for.
Right.
Like, I'm not the type of father to force them
to do it.
I don't get around. Book wise, straight A's. So I asked them, what you want to be? Just, you know, it's other things out there, and I mean, I'm back. It don't bother me whatever they want to do. They got my support. Whether I like it, don't like it.
Right.
I'm gonna get interested in it to see what that is they want to do. That's my thing. I mean, don't just put a sports, oh yeah, he's good at this, but
putting limits on them. Like, you know, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, where the example I gave is that what happens is most of the time, people, like sometimes our surrounding people, I don't really want to say family or whatever, but what they do is they confine us to a jar. And then they put the lid on the jar. And what wind up happening is, like, you know, when you put the little grasshopper or whatever, they constantly jump. They jump so high, but then they start noticing they hitting their head. So what they do, they know they got to stop at a certain point. So later on in life, when people start to expose them to something different, and that jar get taken off because you're so trained to going up to that certain amount, you feel like that's all you really, that's all you really have, that's all you can do. And that's what I feel sometimes can happen to our young kids. It's like, and then too, this social media and this technology and these games and these phones. I'm like, which, y'all, I'm so thankful. We do have a 17-year-old, he be up in this game, and I just be like, Lord Jesus, who invented that? Like,
put the
why?
Phone down, man.
Put the phone down, put the games down. Like, knowledge, when we were younger, they used to say knowledge is power. No, applied knowledge is power. Because you can know, you can be like the smartest kid in the classroom. But just because you taking the test and you know it, if you don't fill it out correct, you ain't about to get no A on that. You ain't about to get no good grade. So that's one thing I know we teach the kids is that apply what it is that you know, and don't be scared to do it. Like, just do it.
No.
Just do it. And if you fail, know that you fell, but you can still get back up to try and do it again. But one thing that our kids definitely have in common, let me just go ahead for the listeners and Facebook Live, trip y'all out just a little bit. Cara was on some stuff. Because the things it is that we share in common, more so is to, of course, we have ways from our, from our daddy or whatever. But Coltlain and my baby girl, Amaya, actually have the same birthday. And Jackson, your youngest one, and my oldest one have the exact same birthday. And our kids, our my two that I birthed and your two oldest, is split identical to each other. Joe and Shania, same. Like boy girl is the same. You could have pretty much said they like twins. And Shania and Amaya and Bub are exactly the same. So that means if I have a third one, Lord Jesus, which y'all gonna be like Jackson. Just like Jackson, oh my gosh. But them kids are so smart, like they so smart. I can definitely say that's something in the bloodline. It's in the bloodline that them kids have that in common. Like they're more book smart. I told T the other day, I said, man, I'm a little worried. He said, why? I said, man, my kids like they book smart, but man, they ain't got it in the streets, man.
Like keep away from it. That's street smart.
I say, and like sometimes even like with just the common sense of things. I love my kids, y'all. Don't But it's just like the common, like they so smart to where they too smart for their own good sometimes.
Yeah.
I be thinking.
Yeah, I got one like that. He do whatever you need on YouTube, whatever. Ask him to go swing the bat. Dad, okay, it's good, son. It's good.
Now the girls, they tried sports. Which they want to do it, but I would schedule like be so crazy, which is not an excuse, you know what I mean? But it just be like, if you go do it, I don't want to waste my time and going to practice, going to these games, and you're not applying everything it is that you will do.
Oh, if I put you
that's the thing with me and them.
It's no, you're going to get 100%. I don't care if you're out there.
No, I need 110, boo-boo.
Why?
Wasting my time out here. It's hot.
You can be out there. You're going to look good out there with that girl on. You will look good sitting on that bench too, and you will get in there.
Oh yeah, but that is some of the things it is that we have in common. It was good conversation. You know what I mean? Like it's just talking about some stuff, and just needless to know that just say like, had we not established that relationship,
man, we'd have just been out here like. Your dad would have taken a photo to say, hey, y'all need to
like, God, you got a ball walking around here who look just like you. Boy, you got a guy walking around here who look just like you. Y'all ain't brother and sister. I'll be like, maybe so. I don't know. I ain't never met him.
Who is your dad?
What they call him? Gino, his little street name. Go ahead, Daddy. Go have to go give my daddy a shout out. Go meet him to work. Bring him some muffins or something tomorrow. But yeah, just to say, what if we didn't establish that relationship. Because we're really close now.
Yeah.
You know, we're very close now. And I think if we can give any type of advice to anyone who may be in the situation that we were once in, we were very close in age, born the same year. You know, we don't know what relationship or whatever it was between our dad and our mom.
And we don't want to know.
No, we don't. We really don't want to know. Y'all can keep that back in what, 1996.
We don't want to know.
Keep that way back then. But to say that if any advice, what it is, regardless of what the relationship with the parent, you know, may be with the co-parenting or whatever, if you have siblings that is involved, allow those siblings to connect. Mm-hmm. Allow them to establish a relationship, you know, between themselves. And let them do it. Like, you know, being the parent, the mother, whoever the child is primarily with, you may have to force it, you know, at first. But at the same time, I feel like every kid, every sibling should have the right to know their brother or know their sisters without any strings attached to it.
Drop them off in the park. Drop them off to the dad's house.
Do something, you know, because unlike some, we were able to catch hold to it early on to establish a relationship between us, and our kids have, you know, relationships amongst themselves. So as cousins, y'all able to commute with each other, you know, talk, play, just do whatever. You know how many even cousins, I don't even really know.
As of 2005, I stopped paying with cousins. No, I'm joking. But
I don't even really know. Like, all them cousins, like, where y'all come from?
Yeah, we got a big family. And it's
yeah.
Man, it's sad to say I don't know all of them. On the Onazine side, it's a lot. But on the Celestine and the Falk side, man, like they say, everybody in Lafayette I'm related to.
Oh, yeah. And then we have to think about, I know on the zines we have, but on my side it's Bernard's, it's Babineau's, it's Harris, it's Sandpace, it's Greens, it's Cormier's. Like, that's all in the family tree. And then recently we found out we kin to some Brunos from the Onazine side. Yeah.
I'm not dating nobody from Lafayette.
You already with Vicky Shay. You know, we just gotta make sure y'all ain't cousins, okay? Just make sure there's no cousins up there.
Yeah, Jackie, we're not cousins.
Have to make sure we check that out.
Yeah, well, we did, but
But it was good. But if you can say, because we're gonna go ahead and we gonna wrap it up in a few. If you can like leave one thing, like with the listeners, any type of advice or any type of suggestion or anything or any type of experience it is that you have had with, you know, growing up, first child, growing up, coming from a mother who had both her parents in house, but she having to raise me, you know, as a single mother. Now growing up, having a sister, having two other siblings, two brothers as well. It's like, what advice could it is that you give to anyone who may be in your situation or have been in your situation?
I mean, as grown up, you're the oldest. I mean, you'll always be the example. It's not to say they'll do what they know is best. It's not to say it's right or wrong. They don't know. I mean, you're the first child, so it's always the practice, the example. So, I mean, you can't hold no grudges or hold them for what they do. Yeah, it's like me and my brothers, we grew up. Certain things mom did for me, did to me, she didn't do to them. I mean, it could be from discipline and so forth. But I gotta understand that I'm the oldest. Okay, well, mom may not have been in a situation to do what she did for him. Okay, I can't hold that against you. So I gotta look at it like, all right, well, she did the best she could for me at that time. And as you get older, you start seeing it like, okay. But I mean, I don't knock nothing from her. I thank her, I praise her. But I mean, you know, you try your best to, how can I put it? You try your best to do the same for all your kids. But no matter how you look at it, I always gonna say that's special one. Hey, we all got one, I got one. So it's like, okay, but I mean, try the best to do what you can for all your kids. Not this one, if I do it for this one, I'm gonna do it for all. And that's what I stick to, and that's what I do. I mean, I got one that stays in the house. Yeah, they might say, oh, he do more for her. No, she stays with me. When I get my other 3, we do all the same. I don't do nothing different that I want to do for this one. I want to do for her. And I mean, that's my thing. And I don't do it. I mean, I stick to my word.
Yeah, and you have to. And that's another thing that could get misconstrued with so many things is that a parent have to understand that if I have this child in this house with me who I see every single day, it's going to always come off as if this child is getting more than a child who doesn't live in-house. It's going to always seem that way. Why? Because I'm not able to have that relationship or, do for them as much as needed. Why? First off, it's 2 different households. Second off, it's 2 different lifestyles it is. And then 3, we just maneuver completely different. So what my daily schedule may look like may not be what your daily schedule look like. So as the co-parenting of things, despite of whatever it is, you just gotta co-parent to the best of your ability. And one thing it is, because anyone who doesn't know that me and my husband, we're a blended family. I have my kids. His kids are with their mom. So it's going to always seem as if, okay, my kids in-house, you see what I'm saying? Like it is a little bit more when it's really not the case. And I think it only takes like a really matured mind to really understand that, or it takes the person who's actually in that type of situation. Like if with his kids, with the mom, say if your kid is in-house, you have to take care of them, but you're dating a man or you're married to a man who has a kid outside the house. You see what I'm saying? So there's no way you can really understand it unless you're in that type of situation and in that type of position. But at the end of the day, hey, it's kids first. It is kids first. And as long as you keep the kids first, then everything will work out. In our situation when we was younger, had the kids been first, then we're good now.
Yeah.
But what if we would have went with what statistics said, or what statistic predicted it should have been, or what it could have been? Then we wouldn't be doing this podcast as of right now. We probably wouldn't even be like, "Boy, what issue? Oh, another state." Somewhere completely different. So it's good and it's great, because out of all that stuff, the growing up with stuff is that you have my mom, you have your mom, we have our dad who's in the middle, we have 2 beautiful kids that came up who grew up in all that stuff. And not only that, but we contributed to it with 2 kids of my own that I birthed, 3 kids of your own that you birthed, but then you have your bonus daughter in it, and then I have 3 of my bonus kids. So look at the overall big picture of it.
Yeah.
So even though it started out as chaotic or misunderstanding or things that whatever y'all was doing up in 1986, over 30-some years ago, you know what I mean? Despite of what all that chaos and what was going on then, look at the big picture of the overall now. Y'all have grandkids. Y'all have, brother, son-in-law and daughter-in-laws involved in it now, and it's just a good thing. And our parents get along just fine now.
Yeah. Yes,
they get along fine just now. So again, it's just good when you keep the focus point, on the kids, because we did great and we doing good. We could, we still have a long way to go because we still young. But in the midst of everything is knowing that, hey, what we do with these kids at a young age really does play a part. It really does take an effect on them long term. So, if you want to, or you in this type of situation, like, hey, if you have a sibling that I encourage you just to reach out to them regardless of what went on between the mom or the dad or whatever it is that you want to call it. Get to know them, develop a relationship, build something, because all of us have an expiration date and we never know when our turn is, is going to come. And it's always more that you can do together than it is that you can do apart. It's so much. So I pray that this blessed someone. It was good to me. It was good to you. You
Yes,
enjoyed it? Yay. I enjoyed it so much. So that's going to conclude our podcast for the Night of Uncomfortable with my special co-host, my brother. You know what I mean? My brother literally from another mother. But my brother, my blood. And just again, thank all of the listeners. Thank everyone from for Facebook Live for tuning in. We have fun. Until next week. Y'all have a blessed one.
Have a blessed one.